Okay, part two to this Get Out video. I think that'd be the perfect title of this video is Get Out. Um, Once you see the red flags, you see the warnings, get out. But anyway, so that's what I was saying about the emotional manipulation, everything. This is where it starts. Um, this man was 54 years old, by the way, and he was Dominican. And like I said, the beginning of the relationship, it was all of love bombing, manipulation, control tactics to get what he wanted. Oh, sorry. I accidentally bumped my elbow on the wall. But so I started noticing ever since the first conversation we had that he would be the type of man that will want everything but don't give nothing. And he was. Everything I assumed about this man was right on the nose. I was so right. And then it was crazy because I did ask somebody for their advice and what you think of it. And she said something similar, but she added more to that. I don't remember what she said because it's been about 2 weeks that we spoke about this. But so, where do I begin? So we had a conversation. And the first conversation, which I thought was a red flag, was him talking about sex. Now, we all know every time we meet a man, we get to know somebody, why the first conversation men bring up is sex. Not anything else but this. This was the biggest turnoff that I ever heard in my life that I've seen. And I told him that I've been through stuff like this before. I've been dating since I was 12. So I already know the game. I know how shit goes. I know how the dating scene is. And the one thing I said to an old friend was, dating in New York City is trash. Why? Because you could never get any sincerity out of a man. No genuine love, no genuine connection. It was just all bullshit. And some guys out here will manipulate their way into getting what they want and disregard you and what you want. They would disrespect boundaries. They would disrespect anything. They would violate you to the fullest. And after they done with you and they feel like they done used you all up, then they'll go to somebody else and do it all again. But little did he know that was not going to happen with me. And I'm not going to sit here and make myself like the victim. Okay, even though I was the victim in this situation. I'm going to sit here and let you know that I've been strong about this and I've been fighting back. I've been defending myself. And I was not about to let this man get the best of me or do anything really messed up to the point I can't come back from it, or neither can he. But anyway, let's talk about the fact that he brought this whole sex situation up. And I had to put a stop to it because the first thing I said to him was, I've been celibate for a while now. The last relationship I had with a man was back in 2023. And that was a temporary relationship. It lasted for like 3 months. It really wasn't all that. And to be honest, you can't even call that a relationship when it only lasted for 3 months. It was like a situationship because one, we live on total opposite sides of the world. And two, we haven't really done much, in a relationship. We only hung out one time and the majority of the relationship was on the phone. So I hope you see where this is going. So I noticed that this man right here that I was dating was performing the same things that every other guy was doing. Majority of the relationship was always on the phone, not in person. Why? Because he was being fucking lazy. So here's another thing about this guy that y'all should know. This guy was really fucking lazy. Always with the excuses as to why he couldn't come see me or why we can't, do anything. And there was numerous times where I would mention to this guy the places I like to go to, the things I like to do, and how I used to take myself out on dates a lot. And I told him at one point when I was looking at this movie, I was like, hey, there's a movie that I want to catch that I really love. It's like a part two to this movie. Let's go see this movie. Now, me telling him that I want to go on a date, let's go to the movie theaters. His answer was, oh, I could get the movie on this app. And he'll show me an app where he watches movies and TV shows all day long. And I'm looking at him like, if I wanted to watch this movie on the fucking app of a device, I would have done that myself. But I didn't want to do that with him. I clearly wanted to go on a date with this man. So that was a second red flag the third red flag, that this man don't like to go out on dates because he don't like to spend money on a woman, clearly. And all he wants to do is sit at somebody's home, butt ass naked, and watch TV or movies all day. And when I noticed that was the type of guy he was, I was like, okay, I'm in for a fucked up relationship. I already know this was going to be the worst relationship I was going to ever have in my life. Because even with my other exes, they took me out on dates. I've been out on so many dates with my exes because, one, they understood the fact that I wasn't ready to let anybody in my house. Two, I never got a chance to really feel comfortable to let a man be in my house long enough to do whatever. I'm talking about it took months for me to get comfortable with guys. So I asked him, let's go out. He didn't want to do it. All he wants to do is sit in my house, watch movies on a fucking app. Another red flag. So after that, I no longer mentioned about going out on dates with him. I didn't mention anything else, so I was like, fine, whatever. Then, all of a sudden, the relationship went from being nice and him being cute about certain shit, to us having arguments day and night. I'm talking about we was arguing 90% of the relationship. And it was always based on the shit he say to me, his slip-ups. Now, here's the lesson that I need a lot of you young girls, even older women around my age, to understand and take this serious. You cannot sit here and honestly convince yourself that a man makes a mistake and he would never make it again. And don't ever say, oh, that's not my man. Don't ever come out your mouth and say, my man would never do that to me. You don't know until you get that emotional part of the man. Now, I wrote down some stuff and I also spoke to a therapist about this. I spoke to my friend who's a counselor. So here's some of the things that we was talking about. First of all, the love bombing. After I explained to my friend who was a counselor about this relationship and how it started, how it ended, because right now I'm in the part of this counseling where we talk about my reaction to all of this, how I felt, how the relationship left me, if I felt hurt, broken, betrayed, disrespected, whatever the case is. We up to that part. I have yet to speak about it, but I will today. And about time you see this video, for anybody out there, some people might see it on time, others might see it late. I will already be over this man and I will already be single. I've been single now for about almost 2 weeks. Yeah, to think about it. So anyway, the part of the relationship I was not feeling was the love bombing. The love bombing was constant compliments, constant attention, but it was only because he was showing a lot of red flags that I didn't see earlier. And I'm starting to put two and two together as the days go by, the longer I was with this man. And I told him I didn't like love bombing because I've been through I've been through those type of relationships before where men was constantly love bombing me only because they wanted something. And that's exactly what he was doing. Love bombing me because he wanted something. And before y'all start defending this man, it's not what y'all think it is. He had a motive that was not innocent. And I spotted it. And instead of him admitting to it, he tries to make up more excuses of it and then try to blame me or shame me for even pointing out everything about him. And the one thing I noticed about this man is that he didn't like it when I pointed out his flaws. He didn't like it when I pointed out everything he was doing to me that was wrong, because he wanted me to be blind to it. He wanted me to wear these rose-colored glasses like I didn't see shit, like I don't know what he was doing. And at one point, he even tried to make me feel bad. And it almost got to me, almost, until I recognized this was another tactic he was doing. So for anybody who didn't know the signs and what it means, I'll read it to you. So like I said, the love bombing at the beginning of a relationship is constant compliments, constant attention, the "I like you so much" quote, saying everything you want to hear. It's a manipulation tactic often used by emotional, immature, or abusive partners. It makes you feel special so fast that so they could get what they want. The moment you get comfortable, the mask slip off. Now, his first real conversation with me wasn't about love, but more about sex. This is a major red flag. I told him that I had a boundary. I was celibate and I was firm about it. And his immediate reply was disrespected. Disrespectful. He disrespected the boundary. He joked about violating it. Argued when I stood up for myself. Anyone who respects you would have said thank you for telling me, and I respect that completely. And not say, oh, I could find a way to break those rules. Any man that tells you he could break your rules of celibacy is not the man for you. You need to run and leave him alone. This is a deep violation of your comfort and values. When I pulled away, he panicked and started love bombing me again. The obsessive texting and calling, asking me to call him so many times, the constant apologies, the begging, that wasn't love, that was control. He wasn't sorry, he was scared he was losing access to me. There was a difference. He never respected my needs, only his own. What I asked for was quality time, effort, respect, and actual conversations. What he gave me was excuses, laziness, selfishness, phone calls instead of a real connection. That wasn't because he was busy. It was because he didn't value my needs. A real partner shows up. A real partner moves mountains for you. A real partner is going to be there no matter what. You don't have to beg. You don't have to ask. He will be there, especially if he wants you. The effort wasn't even put in either when it comes to showing up for me. The jealousy, the impatience, the defensiveness, and anger, classic emotional manipulation. He was using blame shifting, guilt tripping, twisting arguments, making me feel like I was the problem. This kind of behavior is meant to destabilize you emotionally so he could stay in control. I wasn't imagining anything. He was actively pushing me into confusion. Because, like I said, whenever he has a shitty mood, he could be in the most shitty mood out of nowhere. And I would ask him, is everything okay? What's going on? What's his problem? And sometimes he'll say nothing. Or he would instantly go right into what I did because I defended myself against him. So the next thing, so here's the thing. Now, the slip ups, let's talk about that. Numerous times I caught this man slip up and tell me exactly how he felt. And I knew this was going to happen because he didn't like, and I noticed that he didn't like the fact that I speak up for myself. He didn't like the fact that I put a stop to a lot of things. Now, one of the problems we had in this relationship that he didn't like was the fact that I kept stopping him from coming after me for sex. Like I said, majority of the time, this man was constantly after sex. And this is where I was pissed off about, because constantly I kept asking him to give me the emotional part of the relationship. I wanted him to be vulnerable with me, to open up to me, because I expressed myself to him all the time without a problem as to what I was looking for in a relationship. And he would tell me, oh, I'm old school. I'll give you that old school type of love. I show up. I do this. I do that. He said he's more about actions than words. I was like, yeah, me too. So let's see how this goes. That's the only reason why I say yes to being with him. Because all my life I've been praying to God for a man in the future to love me, to accept me for who I am, to be there for me, to be in my corner, to be my cheerleader, somebody who could adore me and love me right and correctly. Because I say, if you cannot love me correctly, keep it moving. Step to me right or keep it moving. And as they say, shit or get off the pot, right? If you can't step up and be the man I need you to be, let somebody else who is capable of doing it. And all this shit this man was talking about and never came through with the actions. Red flag. So here's more that I wrote about, because the arguments was another red flag. Constantly arguing with somebody, red flag. Throughout the entire relationship, what's even a bigger red flag is when you first start dating somebody and you already started having relationship problems with them. You're arguing with them. First of all, relationships should not start with arguments. If that is a huge red flag, especially on the first month of you dating that person, red flag. But if you're the type of girl that wants to keep dating this guy to see if it gets better and better, sweetie, I'm telling you this, it does not get better. And I see for myself. And a part of me wanted to test this out because I wanted to see what other women saw in their relationships and why they stuck around. I'm not victim blaming, shaming nobody. I wanted to see for myself. So you could actually say this was kind of a test, but at the same time, this was actually my life because I really did like this guy. At one point, I was turned on by this guy, and I really felt something for this guy as the weeks go by. It took me about a month to even feel some type of love for this guy. So anyway, fast forward to the end of this relationship, meaning about a while ago, a couple of days or whatever. The public embarrassment. Me and him had an argument in my school. Not once but twice. It was like a 2-part argument. And I can't believe this man had the balls to step to my face and disrespect me in front of everybody in my school and embarrass me. All because he couldn't get what he wanted. All because he was upset with the fact that I say I return energies. Now, we already know how this shit goes. I always said that whatever people show me is how they feel about me. And I said that to him because it was the slip-ups. When I said the slip-ups, I said he was constantly slipping up and then take it back. Now, here's the thing. This man slip up at one point, say fuck you to me. Because we got into an argument, and then he goes and takes it back and says that he didn't mean to say that. That's not what he was trying to say. All this bullshit, right? So not only that this man slipped up, he called himself slipping up and saying fuck you to me, but he actually did it again and said that I could be a bitch sometimes. And I wanted him to repeat that again because I wanted to make sure he said it. And I wanted to make sure I heard it clearly. Okay. Part 3. I got to make a part 3 to this because this is too long. It's already 20 minutes in.